lunar lander on December 11th. Of course, the launch went off as planned, but unfortunately the lander crash landed on the moon. That was followed up on February 7th, 2023 with the Amazonas Nexus satellite, Spanish communications satellite for Hispasat, covers the Americas, Europe, and North Africa. It was followed by a flight to the International Space Station with the Commercial Resupply Services, or CRS-27 launch on March 15th. And then every mission thereafter were Starlink flights up until now, of course. Those were Group 6-2 on April 19th, Group 5-11 on June 12th, 6-12 on September 4th, 6-27 on November 8th, 6-37 on January 15th, and 6-41 on March 4th. Which of course brings us to today and the launch of Bandwagon 1. 11 different satellites on board. Strong back retract sequence getting underway here. The clamp arms will be opening up, and the transporter erector, or the strong back, will recline away to green half away from the Falcon 9 rocket, stay in that position until liftoff. You see the clamp arms opening up. Here's some views from our friend Pete Carstens of the transporter erector tilted away from the Falcon 9 rocket. We're now just a little over 3 minutes away from the planned liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket. We're coming up on the conclusion of first stage liquid oxygen load just a few seconds from now. Apologies for the glitch here. We're now about 2.5 minutes away. Want to thank the more than 42,000 of you who are watching live with us this evening as we are looking forward to a great launch of the Falcon 9 rocket in just a little over 2 minutes from now. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the like button, allow some more folks to find their way in as we're coming up on the final 2 minutes of the count. And we will come back to our support here in the live chat on the other side of the mission. For now, though, as we're within the last couple minutes, we'll keep our focus here on the Falcon 9 rocket itself. And we do have confirmation that the Falcon 9 is now fully fueled with 1 million pounds of propellant. Now a minute and a half away from liftoff. That venting we were just seeing was the ground gas closeouts. One of the final steps before they're ready for flight. Coming up on the final minute for launch here. We're now less than a minute away, just standing by for a call that we are go for launch from the launch director. Falcon 9 is in autonomous startup. Now 30 seconds. And we have confirmation we are go for launch. 18 seconds remaining. And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine ignition and liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket. Nearly sunset as this Falcon 9 ascends from Historic Launch Complex 39A. Now 15 seconds into flight. Getting some great views from our tracking team here. Let's listen to the roar of those 9 Merlin 1D engines. Little over a minute into flight, we're hearing nominal power and telemetry. So far, a good flight of the Falcon 9 rocket. Rocket passing through max Q, the point of greatest aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. Now, we're coming up on a few different events in rapid succession. We'll see first stage management cutoff for MECO about 2 minutes and 14 seconds into flight. That'll be followed a few seconds later by stage separation, second stage engine start, and then the beginning of the boost back burn, as again this booster is going to be making its way back down towards a landing at landing zone 1. Here's some on-view camera views from the Falcon 9 first stage. Some views from our tracker here on the ground. And our friend Pete Carson's with Max Q Productions. As you see MECO. Stage separation. We're seeing the great shot of that flip maneuver here and the start of that boost back burn. Just incredible views from the ground. A little over 3 minutes into flight now. We should see fairing deployment in about 10 seconds on the SpaceX feed. Some great views from Pete Carson's here. We did hear confirmation of fairing separation. No views of that today. Again, because of the sensitivity of some of the payloads on board. That boost back burn has ended. Those bursts that you're seeing, though, are the cold gas thrusters as the booster's attitude is being adjusted. Here's some views of that process here from the SpaceX onboard cameras. You can see the hypersonic grid fins deploying now, helping to provide stability and steering as the booster is making its way back down from whence it came practically, making its arrival back on Florida's Space Coast, coming up for a landing at landing zone 1 in just about 3 minutes. About 4.5 minutes into flight. We're just about a minute away now from the start of the first stage entry burn beginning. So far, a nominal flight of the Falcon 9 first stage as well as the second stage. Some great views given the time of day and the sunlight, really helping to illuminate the Falcon 9 first stage booster. A little over 5 minutes into flight now, less than about 30 seconds away from the start of that first stage entry burn beginning. Taking a look briefly from the SpaceX onboard cameras, you can see some of the cloud cover that the Falcon 9 came through just a few minutes ago. And a view from inside the Falcon 9 first stage. Coming up on the start of the entry burn momentarily. We should be seeing the entry burn start. There's the entry burn. Coming a little bit later in the timeline than what was previously advertised. No word from SpaceX that things are off nominal though right now. So it appears to have been a good entry burn. Now a little over 7 minutes into flight. According to the timeline, we should be coming up on first stage landings, so things happening just a little bit off from the advertised timeline. Now 7.5 minutes into flight, we should see the start of the landing burn shortly. Some great shots here, and there's the start of the landing burn. A little bit of a wider shot of that landing burn. Here's the same coming in from the SpaceX feed. And we just heard the sonic boom here at the press site. With the landing legs deployed, it looks like we've got a good touchdown of the Falcon 9 first stage. This was the 14th landing of tail number B1073. This was the 294th SpaceX booster landing to date. A beautiful liftoff and landing as the first stage booster stands tall at landing zone 1, a little over 9 minutes into flight. And again, because of the sensitivity of the payload, SpaceX is not going to be providing views of spacecraft deployment today. And with that, we're going to go ahead and come to our mission stats in just a moment. But before we do, of course, we want to thank the people who helped make this live launch coverage possible. We very much appreciate you being with us and helping support us this evening. So our thanks to SG for a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, SG. Good to see you this evening. Air Force Proud 95 with a $5 super chat as well. Air Force saying, love the channel. Please wish Michelle a happy half birthday. Michelle, a very happy half birthday to you. Jason Huey with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Jason. Jason says he is living in Hawaii now, asking if he will ever see a launch this way. Well, maybe not necessarily a launch, but you may see a splashdown, depending on what the visibility looks like. SpaceX may decide to return its flight path to mirror what they did with the Flight 1 and 2 missions of Starship. In that case, they were intending to have the ship upper stage splash down north of Hawaii in the Pacific Ocean. And so there's a possibility that if they use that trajectory again, that you may see Starship streak across the sky, which could be quite impressive depending on the time of day and the visibility at that point. Our thanks also to Tave for a very generous $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Tave. Really appreciate your support at that level. Tave says, hello from Philly. The kids Logan and Eva are watching. Hello, Logan and Eva. So glad you could all be with us this evening. Hope you enjoyed the launch. And hope you get a chance to enjoy the eclipse tomorrow.